Welcome, everybody, to tonight's show of shows. This is Dave Stelma here, coming to you live on Facebook and on YouTube. And tonight, there's cycles in our lives. We're going to talk about those cycles in our lives. And until you become the observer of those cycles, you'll always be two steps behind, right? So tonight, we're going to talk about those cycles. You know, you got financial, you got spiritual, you got physical cycles that we've all gone through. I'm 53 years old, and I'm going to talk all about those, and we're going to explore that and more after the intro. The cycles of our lives. Sounds like a song or something, or a soap opera, right? The past, the present, the future, as you can see there. Someone spray painted on my wall. What's going on there? Hi, Courtney. If you think back in hindsight, it's all 2020, right? You're thinking about how that love of your life didn't work out, and then you met the true love of your life. Jobs. I've gotten fired from jobs before. And all of a sudden I'm like devastated, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to go on? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do you start freaking out on certain things, and you're like, and then all of a sudden the better job shows up, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I didn't need to go through that, try to get over that hurdle. I just had to go with the flow. There was a reason why I wasn't there. So in my story, well, let's go way back when. I played in bands when I was in high school. I played in bar bands, got out there, sang. Then went to college briefly, I'll say, because I dropped out after about a year and a half. Dropped out of college, played in some more bands, started working retail. And then because of all that, you think, now I reflect back and I'm like, playing in bands, that gave me the ability to even do this, the technology wise. There was, being able to figure that stuff out, playing guitar, singing, all those good things. It all gave me abilities that I utilize today when I'm out teaching, when I'm speaking, when I'm doing training and coaching and that. It's just all those things that you can pull upon, that experience that I had in the past. And then from managing retail stores, now I have a business background, but it's all practical. It's not like I went to, and that's why college didn't quite work out for me. And I understand now. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I have to make up something on an interview, or when I'm going for a job and things of that sort. And so then I had to come up with like excuses of why. And then all of a sudden I realized, it's actually an asset to me of what I've done experience-wise. So managing retail stores, then that brought me to my first marriage, and at the same time opening my own clothing store, resale clothing store here, and had that for 13 years. And then along the way, I worked some random part-time jobs for health insurance, things of that sort. And those all gave me different experiences that I would never had. I mean, working for UPS at the same time of doing, having my own business and doing things like that, coordinating those things, and working two jobs. I have respect for people that work two jobs, had tried to own a business and working that business, and then in downtime, you're also working a part-time job. I have great respect for those people because they're doing exactly what I did and am doing, and so utilizing that, you gain knowledge, you gain experience because you're talking to people along the way. You meet some great people, you hear some great stories, and you utilize those stories in your own way to benefit for your business or what it happens in the future by gaining that knowledge from the present. And now if you reflect back of all the things that you've gone through, I mean, these are some of the things that I've gone through. And in the meantime, financial. those cycles of financial downtime. I mean, and I just call it that because there's going to be these cycles of money in your lifetime where all of a sudden the money is a little bit more tight, and then all of a sudden you have a lot of money. You have money built up in your savings, you have money built up in your 401k or your retirement fund, and then all of a sudden you feel a little bit more confident. And then all of a sudden you might go down into that lower money cycle. And as we acquire more money in life and with experience, those cycles are still there. It's just not as detrimental. All of a sudden, instead of going down to a minus money, where how am I going to pay the mortgage bill this month because I'm in the hole, all of a sudden it's like you have a surplus, but it's just not quite as much of a surplus as you had before that. So think about that as you grow. The stress could still be there, but handle the stress wisely. Don't necessarily get all stressed out because, oh, we're lacking money this month or something of that sort. We get wiser as we go. And like in my experience now, during that same time I opened the retail store, business was good. And then there was low times on business, and then there's high times on business. And it's same thing with the marriage. Same thing was at that moment in time. And then towards the end of both of those, hi Kyle. Towards the end of both of those cycles, I was asking myself, my now ex-wife was working some retail jobs. I'm like, getting all strung out, going, why aren't you working, more in a better position? You're more qualified. Why aren't you working in a place that would give us more money? Things of that sort. And now in hindsight, I realize why. Because I wouldn't have met the love of my life if it wouldn't have been for my ex-wife working at the place that she did. Because the two of them worked together. But that's how I met Ember, was because my ex-wife was working at a retail, and at the time, I was frustrated. There wasn't, I'm working different multiple jobs, things of that sort, trying to get things, keep things afloat, and yet she wasn't doing that. And it's like she was actually going to a lesser job from one that paid better. She was going to a lesser part-time job and things of that sort. And now it makes sense. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that she did that, because otherwise I wouldn't have met Ember, right? So now in hindsight, that all makes sense. It didn't make sense before, but now it all makes sense. And so everything that's happening now in my life, I take a moment, I ponder back of trying to relate of how this is going to work out. I can't think futuristically. I can't look into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. Oh, here. I don't have a crystal ball. It's a globe. But I don't have a crystal ball that I can read and go, oh, where would the future hold? What would the future hold? I wish I could, but that just doesn't work out that way. I can't predict that. Hi, Diane. Thanks for joining. So I wish I could do that and predict in the future, but now I look and I try to become more of the observer, right? I'm observing everything that's happening, and I go, there's a reason why this is happening right now. There's a reason why I'm living in the place I'm living right now. There's someone I'm supposed to meet. There's some interaction that's supposed to go on. There's something that's going. So as you get that offer, as you get that email, certain things are going to crop up into your life. Look for that as an observer and be the one that now you can observe it and relate to it and take advantage of it. Your higher power is pushing you in a direction. They're guiding you on your journey. They're guiding you down your pathway. And if the ones that are the wise ones in the world, and there's a lot of them out there, and sometimes we sit back and go, That person doesn't know any more than I do. Why am I in this place and they're in that place? Why are they reaping more benefits than I am at this moment in time? And just become the observer and where that flow takes you. And even if it blocks up, if something doesn't flow for you, know that and walk away from that deal or that person or that piece of furniture or whatever that is creating that blockage in your life. Walk away from that and keep going down your journey path. That's so that's kind of like my story. Everyone, and I'm sure you're relating to it now, you're thinking of, oh yeah, if I didn't break up with that person, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm at. I wouldn't have the family that I have. I wouldn't, or even money-wise. Things of that sort. It's like if times are tough now, they're going to get better. It's the cycle. It's part of that cycle. So if you're in a down cycle right now, it's going to go up. It happens everywhere. Stock market, gas prices, whatever it is. If gas is going to be an all-time low, someday it's going to be an all-time high. It's going to happen. So relish where you're at and become the observer. Observe what that is. And when you get that offer, that special offer, check it out. And if all of a sudden it just doesn't feel right or if it doesn't flow some way, then that's great. It wasn't supposed to be. That wasn't the thing. But keep looking at those things and keep observing and, keep moving forward in